Despite mounting calls and the controversy surrounding the BBC presenter, the British broadcaster's chief, Tim Davie, has refused to reveal the identity of the staff member for the fifth straight day now of headlines really dominating here in Britain. Fresh revelations, I should say, have come forward. Well, let's take you through the details just now, because after the allegations that the BBC presenter paid over $40,000 in return of explicit images from a teenager, the media firm is reporting that another person in their 20s has come forward with claims that the same presenter has sent this individual threatening messages on a dating app. Well, various British media personalities are urging the presenter to reveal his identity. Now, the BBC Radio 2 presenter Jeremy Vines says these new allegations will result in yet more criticism towards innocent colleagues of his. He also tweeted the BBC is on its knees due to this scandal. Well, the British broadcaster has also come forward with a statement saying that it has verified that the messages sent to this individual were from a number that belonged to the same presenter. Now, these fresh revelations have also caused a frenzy on social media about the identity of this presenter.
This could be really damaging for the BBC. There have been a number of scandals over the last few years at the BBC, and each one of those does erode public trust. Now, I don't think the public expect the BBC to be able to control all of their staff's every movements, but I think they do expect openness and transparency. And the BBC are really struggling with that because laws prevent them from disclosing the name of this individual, and because inevitably investigations into what happened will take time.
Alex Isaac, our London reporter, is joining us now. Alex, this is very complicated, and also we have to be very careful in what we say because, of course, the identity has not been revealed of this presenter. But we can say that a fourth allegation has now emerged of when they met. There was a third one as well, claiming that they had met this presenter during lockdown, essentially breaking lockdown rules, and that they'd met through a dating app. It just seems more and more allegations and more pressure on the BBC to come out with the identity of this presenter.
Absolutely, and there are rumours as well that he may well be named in Parliament. That is something that could potentially happen. Obviously, the Speaker does have to agree with that if that's going to go forward, but it does set a strange precedent here. We don't really know exactly the ins and outs of what has been going on between this presenter and any of those people that have been messaging that presenter. Now, what we do understand is there was a contention between the original complainant's mother and the person that said that he'd had these photographs potentially taken. That person had said that there was nothing illegal and there was always all blown out of proportion, and that person has their own lawyer now. But obviously since then we have seen these other allegations come forward, but so far they haven't actually been super defamatory. They've mentioned that yes, there was a meeting in COVID, that there was on dating apps, and there was a few conversations that potentially turns a bit explicit, but those are not illegal issues. The real problem here is when it comes to how the BBC have been dealing with this allegation, because this is, as says, one of the many, unfortunately, that has happened not just within the BBC but with any other trusted organisation. Let's take the government as well. Chris Pincer, for example, when there is allegations of sexual misconduct in any company, then the company should always be straight on top of it. But it does seem that the complaint was put out on the 19th of May, and nothing was done until The Sun wrote an article, and then it has gone very fast and very quick, and then obviously these other allegations to come forward. The police are doing an investigation at the moment, and the BBC have said that they've halted their investigation for the time being until the police come back to them. But there is going to be a lot of questions about whether or not the BBC can be trusted, whether or not there are these practices in place, and whether or not this presenter does have a right to privacy, because at the moment there are laws in place, especially in the UK, where he can't be named. And of course other countries, the US is one example, has named him already because of the rumours that are going around. But it's quite clear that if people are starting to put his name about on social media, that they really shouldn't, especially it's defamatory if they are causing that this police investigation does turn out to be an inaccurate accusation. But what it does really come clear is that many of those people within the BBC are now asking this presenter to come forward himself and explain exactly what happens. It's only his side of the story that we've not yet heard, and that's what people really want to hear. And a lot of the other presenters are saying, you know, people are still saying it's them, and they would just like them to come out and say, you know, this is what happens, it's a situation. But it's unlikely that's going to happen now. As we understand, the presenter has his own lawyer and his own legal team.
Right, okay, thank you so much. And as you say, other presenters, including Jeremy Vine, are calling him to perhaps come out, as the BBC, as he said, is on its knees right now. So we will be watching that. As you say, it's all over social media anyway. There aren't the same media laws in regards to that, but with parliamentary privilege, we might even have it revealed today. Who knows? Alex Isaac, thank you so very much indeed.